G'day, welcome back to another episode of Rugby League Outlaws, brought to you by our good friends at Top Sport and the Stubby Club. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Dan, great weekend of footy.
Great weekend of football. I think Saturday might be, big call I know, the best day of rugby league this season.
Yep. Yeah, I'll go with that. But
there's always a but.
Again, with the good comes the bad. We try and slip it into the middle of the show somewhere. We just have to talk about it. It's the elephant in the room. It's the glaring elephant in the room. What is wrong with rugby league? And no, it's not the fact that the Dragons are still in the competition. Mm-hmm. What is wrong with rugby league, Dan?
The system is flawed, Terry.
No, it's the referees that are flawed, Dan.
Well, I agree. Now, we saw two huge talking points this weekend. Hey, we're going to have rather large implications, to be totally honest. Now, on Thursday night, of course, I know it's a long time ago now, feels like forever, we saw a referee interject on a video referee decision. Now, I think the fact that it was ultimately the right decision is going to stop a lot of negative press, which they otherwise would have got. But for those who haven't seen it, ball went up. It was an obvious taking out. Reece Walsh just jumped, took out the play. That was obvious. Ashley Klein, who had it referred in the video, said he's got eyes for the ball, it's play on. And I believe the referee was Adam G or one of the Sutton boys, said, that doesn't look right, can we have another look? And Klein watched one more replay and said, he's taken him out. Okay, the decision was correct, but we saw 2 weeks ago where a referee put something up, it came back, he gave it a try, I can't remember the exact specifics, it came back as a no try. One of the players, I believe the captain, went over to the ref and said, what's going? He said, I know, I saw it that way, but it's been overruled. Why couldn't he step in and say, no, actually, I think it's a try? Why not just put it up on the screen and have the referees decide themselves if they're going to interject? I think it's a frightening precedent, to be honest.
Yeah, again, we've got all this technology, but you've got one person in the bunker, just one, talking to the referee on the field, right? Now, the referee on the field is an idiot, and the referee in the bunker is also an idiot.
Fair enough.
So you can't expect them to get it right. And this is why I keep saying, I love the way that England do it, where they've just got someone sitting centrally. They don't know the score when it goes up there. They've got 90 seconds. They say, can I have this angle here? Can we see this angle here? The score's not shown at any point in time. You tell me what the call is. I think Australia needs that. The NRL needs that. But we need 3 people in the bunker because for some reason, the NRL just overcomplicates it.
They do.
You have 3 people in there, and 2 of them turn around and go, "This is it," and the other idiot over here, you just overrule him.
You happy with mob rule?
Yeah.
I am too. What are your thoughts on the referee interjecting, albeit correctly this week? What's stopping it from happening every time it goes up?
Look, the other way that you can go about this, the bunker, right, is the referee sends it up as what he thinks it is, and then they have a conversation, right? The 2 of them sit there and have a conversation. You've got, show me on the screen what you're looking at, where you think it is. Now, obviously, at home, we don't get these extra views that the bunker does, right? So, but they could have the conversation together and turn around and go, the guy in the box could turn around and go, I'm gonna back you, Ash, or despite the fact that you can't see it on the screen, I've got conclusive evidence. I don't know.
We need to hear that too. Because
that's the other thing as well. You need to hear the conversation between it. Because it's so easy for the referee to just turn around and go, sorry, mate, you've been overruled.
Yep. Spot on, agreed. Now, the second one, which could be even potentially more damaging, is we saw the Bulldogs lose the ball. Watch a replay. See, it was obviously stripped. About 25 seconds later, I went back and watched it. See the replay, and you see them in the replay say, challenge, challenge, challenge.
The only thing that's helping the referee out on that day is straight away Max King said challenge.
Yep.
And he was screaming challenge, 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 challenge. Then it came up on the board, and then the captain. But the problem is, it had been it doesn't matter if King says challenge, he's not the captain.
The captain. It does. Again, I think the fact that it was an obvious error that was found out. Okay, you get there in the end. We got there twice. But the way we got there opens up to, well, what about a couple of weeks ago when the Sharks had could we have watched the replay? Why not? Why couldn't Penrith do it on Thursday night? Why didn't Brisbane do it? It's real bad. The NRL have to come out and say, we got it wrong both times. Okay, ultimately it was right. But this is the procedure. This is the way it's going forward. That didn't happen because if this gets into people's minds, they're going to say, why didn't I get a replay? And they're exactly right.
There's a quick fix for this Bulldogs one that happened today, right? So Max King's penalised. He gives the penalty and Max King said straight away, what's it for? Your arm hit the ground. No, it didn't challenge. I want to challenge that. Let me speak to your captain.
Yep.
Calls Matt Burton over and says, I've called a penalty against him. I said his arm hit the ground. He says it didn't. He wants to challenge it. Do you want to challenge it? At that point in the game, there's 5 minutes to go. Matt Burton's going to challenge that.
Yep.
But that's if the player gets up straight away because, and this is what I said about captains, right? Nico Hines is on the other side of the field, or Matt Burton today was on the other side of the field, and he wants to challenge it. It's going to take 10 seconds for Matt Burton to run over and have a conversation. Max King says, I want to challenge it. Okay, no worries. You stay right here. Call him over. He said he wants to challenge it. You have to challenge it.
Yep.
If the player says, no, I'm challenging this, you have to challenge it. Yeah.
I think the obvious fix is no replays until it's done. Or as soon as the replay is shown, you lose your option to challenge because it was clearly after they saw the replay that they challenged. I know they got the decision right, but I don't like either of them.
I just think the obvious one for that is the minute he adamantly says, I'm challenging, cool, no worries, I'm bringing the captain over and I'm telling him that he has to challenge this because you're adamant. Another downer, Dan.
Shouldn't be a downer, but it is.
State of Origin. I'm sick of it already.
I'm sick of it, Terry. All we heard all weekend was, geez, that was a good play by Nico. Is that going to get him into Origin? Geez, Turbo's playing really well for Manly. Will that get him into Origin? By the end of the Sunday afternoon game, I was so sick of Origin, I don't care. I'm pretty famously not the biggest on Origin, outside of the 80 minutes 3 times a year, whereas it's all that matters in the world. Outside of that, though, I maintain there's nowhere else in the world that does it. You can go back to your NBA and the East versus West, the All-Stars game. Okay, that's what, one weekend? This disrupts competition for 3 months. I'm sick of it. I
tell you what, bring back 2020 where it was played at the end of the season.
I don't mind that. Now, I know the straight away people are going to jump in the comments and say, well, what about if players are going to get picked and haven't played for 3 weeks? So what?
Who cares?
If anyone gets injured this weekend and misses the season, it's going to affect things. I'm getting sick of it. Now, I know it's a huge rating success and it's worth millions and millions of dollars. I get that.
It'll still rate at the end of the year because what do you watch after the grand final? You watch the T20.
Yeah, that's how desperate I am for some competitive sport in my life. And I hate the Thunder, Terry, but let's save that tangent for later in the season. Okay, Origin's huge. It's not going to change. I accept it, but I'm sick of every time a player scores a try, Gus Gould joking, "Oi, Billy, give us the scoop." Billy Slater is not going to say anything. Either's Freddie Fittler. Just stop it. I'm so sick of Origin.
If you watch the Fox coverage today, the panellists were asking Greg Alexander about Campbell Graham.
Yes.
And Alexander handled it professionally. He's a player that's been discussed. Yeah, but is he going to be in the team? He's a player we've discussed at length.
They can't.
Is he going to be in the team? Oh, I can't tell you any more other than the fact that he's been discussed.
You got to let it go.
About it.
You have to let it go. You had both coaches on the Sunday Footy Show on Channel 9 sitting there. Fittler wanted none of it. Now, Billy Slater, without being too
smug,
he handled a little bit better. I think Billy Slater's very good in front of a thing. But you could see Fittler was like, hey, this is funny, but can you give it a rest? I'm not going to give it up. Yeah. He may not have decided yet. But what I've decided, Terry, is I'm sick of Origin until next Wednesday week when it's all I care about.
I'm sick of Origin. Go Queensland. Dan, I've got a question for you.
Shoot.
You're a coach. Your team has just scored the most points in their history.
Yep.
They've just had a resounding win where they've been cheered off a ground that they haven't won it for a long time.
Yep.
And it takes them off the bottom of the competition.
Sounds like a good night. Yeah.
You go into the press conference. Do you, A, applaud your team?
Well, yeah, obviously, yeah. A.
Do you, B, applaud your team and the fans who turned up and watched this because you've been last for a long time and you still sold out the stadium?
B, yep.
Or do you C, attack the fans?
I would lean more towards B, Terry. Why?
Because Tim Sheens did C.
Yeah, I couldn't believe
What
it.
a press conference.
I was sitting there after this game and I thought, Tim Sheens is going to come and drop his pants in helicopter. And he's got every right. He's going to say, thank you, my team, we're back. This is going to kickstart our season. Thank you to the 17,000 who packed out like Hard Oval. He did none of that.
He did none of
He
that.
comes in and he runs at Casey Badger like she just...
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, like, she's terrible. She is terrible.
He
She's
had
terrible
every right. It was a try. But when you score 60 whatever points, kind of takes it back.
She's not real good in the bunker. She's not real good on the sideline, right? So, but don't attack her. And then he turns around and he goes, well, everyone on Twitter was having a go at Luke Brooks. You can stick your Twitter up. You know.
So you know the famous 50 Cent meme. What did he say? F me for? F that. I was sitting there at home going, geez, the Tigers are playing well. What?
Yeah.
What do I have to do with this?
And the best thing was Fox Sports ran the propaganda about Tim, and then everyone was like, he's talking about you, Fox Sports.
You are exactly who he's talking about.
And to a degree, he was talking about me as well, because I was letting everyone know that Luke Brooks had gone a whole year without winning a game, and that's embarrassing.
It's factual, though.
It is factual.
Like, okay.
But you've just scored 66 points, right? Now, this is as well, at the beginning, they wanted Todd Payton to be the coach. You have hired yourself, and you've just beaten Todd Payton. Go in there and talk about how you trumped that guy. We don't need Todd Payton.
No, they don't. Just quickly, did you see the next day at the Tigers get-together, Old Boys Day, Todd Payton sitting there like this?
No.
That was horrible timing for poor Toddy.
Between that and Scott Drinkwater fronting up for the Sunday ticket was absolutely incredible
stuff.
Dan, let's stay with the Tigers for a minute. My mighty
I was
Tigers.
going to say your Tigers.
Picked them this week.
If you were ever going to grasp them, this would be the week.
This is it. They've set themselves up for a run. I don't think they'll get in the top 8, but they've set themselves up for a run at the top 8.
This is going to take some justification. Let's go.
So they've won their game resoundingly, knocked their for and against right off the off
Big
the ballpark.
jump.
Big
Correct.
jump for them. They've got a bye next week.
2 guaranteed points.
Canberra at Campbelltown the week after. Now, we all know the funny meme that, Canberra pants them every time they're there. This isn't the Canberra team of old, though.
No, it's not.
This is
Even in their 5-game win streak, I think 6 points was their biggest margin, or something like that. Don't quote me on that.
And they just got smacked by a dreadful Manly team.
They did, yes.
So they've got them.
Okay, that's very winnable. Campbelltown especially.
Titans away.
Well, that's winnable. The Titans are hopeless.
Yeah. Storm, no Origin players.
Got a bit of luck there, but they deserve it. Yep.
Bye.
Other 2.
Cowboys away. They've just put 60 on the Cowboys.
Whoa, geez, that'll be one circled.
Sharks, no Origin players.
So no Nico.
No Nico.
Well, I'll tell you what.
Well, I mean, depending on Brad Fittler, Nico might be back.
Or maybe, who knows who will be picked.
That is a run, though.
That is
handy
an
run.
Origin run right there. And look, if given 1, 2, 3, 4, even 3 wins plus the buys, it does set them up.
Sets them up for a very, very nice run. Now, not by any stretch do I think the Tigers are going to make. I think their ceiling's between 9 and 15. They can't finish 16th. They shouldn't finish 17th. They've got to finish between that 9 and 15. But this is a run for them. The only thing when we say with the no Origin players, I actually think that Nico will drop out of the Origin squad because Fittler won't know how to utilise him and Coruscant will come in.
Yeah, well, works for me.
Works for us as well, but go you Tigers. Got another question for you, Dan. When was the last time you saw 5 teams leading the competition?
Like round 1.
Yeah.
That is about it.
Yeah.
Now, we were 80 minutes away and a Canberra victory away from
a third
of the competition heading into Origin. Unheard of. But as we got 5 teams and then a whole heap of teams 1 or 2 wins back, this is delicious.
I'm gonna give you some trivia.
Oh, please. From the champion himself.
Thank you. When was the last time an NRL season finished with multiple teams on the same amount of competition points for first?
I feel that Penrith might have done it maybe 3 years ago. They were equal with the Storm.
I didn't check that one, but I'll say there were 3 teams in 2008.
The Sharks, the Storm,
and the Seagulls.
Jeez, this is a
Now, I don't think
fun
that's going to
season.
happen. I don't think that's going to happen. I think
Who knows what's going to happen?
I think South and Penrith are still going to push themselves apart from the pack, away from the pack. But this is fun.
This is fun. Now, I have a question for you, Terry. Ooh. Of the 5 teams currently leading the competition, who surprises you the most that they're there, and who stands as the team?
Who surprises me the most they're there? The easy answer is the Melbourne Storm because they lost all their players. I'll say though Brisbane.
Yep.
Yeah, I'll say Brisbane, right? For the simple fact that when you have a look at their draw and how well they're playing and how little travel they've done, they should be outright.
Yeah, I didn't see you going that way. I like that little twist.
But
yeah, they've had a.
I would say the team 4th and 5th, Brisbane and Melbourne, would be now the team for mine that I think has been the best team in the competition so far. South Sydney, and yes, they had a hiccup against Parramatta.
It happens.
I think they've been really good. Like you can't look at that Penrith team and go they've been the best team in the comp. They're the best defensive team in the competition, and that defensive structure is absolutely insane.
Untouchable.
I think South.
I agree with South in that they haven't had a full strength forward pack anywhere near it all season. They see it first, but I'm going to throw a spanner in the works and be supremely unpopular here and say I think Penrith, because they sit equal to they sit top of the comp, and I don't even think they've played that well yet.
Yeah, exactly.
And everyone's talking about how much trouble they have in scoring points. They just put 1,000 on the Roosters.
Yeah,
a couple of weeks ago, they went to Canberra and scored 400 points.
They've only had 2 games where they've scored over 30. The problem is with Penrith is you've got to score because they're hard to score against.
They can. Now, if you tell me, Terry, that a team who haven't played particularly well and are probably the 3rd or 4th best team in the comp are leading the comp now, I'm telling you that's a damn good footy team. Yeah. As much as I hate to say that.
As much as we hate to say, yeah. And look, I think there's the 2 standout teams in the competition.
Now, there's one team we didn't talk about, our Sharks. I would argue they're the team that surprised the most because almost everyone had us dropping way out of the 4 and potentially out of the 8.
And you just got to think about it with Cronulla as well. They are like a couple of really shonky performances from being, a couple of wins away. But they're there and thereabouts. You and I both had them in the top 4. We had South in the top 4. We had Penrith in the top 4.
So far, so good.
Yeah, Roosters let us down. Hey Dan.
Yes.
I can't read your handwriting.
It says bad coaching. For all the talk about the bad refereeing, I would argue there's been some horrible, horrible coaching. Just yesterday, on Sunday, we saw 2 instances. The Titans need to go 100 metres. Mm-hmm. They need to score a try to push extra time, golden point, or win. Who's the one player you're not taking off the park?
I know what the answer is here.
It's David Fafita.
Oh, no, it's Philip Sami. No, it's David Fafita.
It is David Fafita. Now, Justin Holbrook tried to take David Fafita off, and he said no. 2 things wrong with this. One...
Aaron Clark giving David Fafita an absolute mouthful. You are Aaron Clark.
Yeah, 3 things
you
wrong
are Aaron. Sit down and shut up.
It's that there are 2 things wrong, Terry, on a very serious note. One, that Justin Holbrook would have that thought of, hey, let's get our most damaging player off the field with the game on the line. And 2, that David Fafita didn't respect him enough to say, tools down and come off. If Fitzgibbon had done that to whoever and they didn't come off, I would be annoyed that they didn't listen to the coach. Yeah. But I'm very much on David Fafita's side here.
Absolutely.
I think this ends Justin Holbrook's tenure as Titans coach. I'll get more into that in midweek.
I still don't think that they're going to sack him. I don't think that they're going to sack him because they're not playing bad enough, but they're not good enough. I don't think you can sack him now either because you have a look at the Dragons. Yeah,
well, who are you going
to get? What are you going to do? You're going to go get Anthony Griffin? No.
No, you're not. And the second one, which I saw, was a couple of minutes into the Raiders-Manly game, the Raiders went a particular direction. Mm-hmm. They ran at Ben Trbojevic and they ran at Josh Schuster and they made them look stupid. Mm-hmm. For 78 minutes following that, they went there once after Ben Trbojevic unfortunately got injured. No jokes here, that downright sucks. Mm-hmm. I said early on, if they keep running there, it'll be 200. And you were quick to repeat after the game.
Yeah, after the game.
After the game and say, hey, score update. Mm-hmm. Ricky Stewart didn't see what we saw, which is that they pantsed him. It was too easy. I thought, this is going to be 50. They didn't do it for the rest of the game. That is not bad coaching. That is terrible coaching.
You've got Schuster who won't move and Ben Trbojevic who can't move.
Pre-injury. And again, it sucks.
Pre-injury,
But this is an edge that's there to be attacked.
I mean, Ben Turbo is in the team because his brothers are good.
And he's got a sick last name. One else available.
But he can't move left or right. And the minute he had to move left to right, he tore his hamstring.
He got burnt. And I just was like, oh, even Ricky Stewart knows that's your spot. Josh Schuster made like 15 tackles in a game we should have made 150.
All right, now let's not take the light off this bad coaching. Todd Payton is on fraud watch.
Has anyone ever been the coach of the year and sacked in the next season? No, I know it's happened.
Claudio Ranieri from Leicester.
Yeah, and I was going to say it's happened in the NBA, but in the NRL...
Jose Mourinho at Chelsea. Like, I can't remember in the NRL a coach of the year getting sacked.
I think if we ask this question in 4 or 5 weeks' time, we may have ourselves a trivia answer. Terry,
talk to me, Dan.
Time to talk some black, white and blue. We're back from our home away from home. I love Coffs Harbour. It's fantastic. Black, white and blue everywhere. Even the Big Banana was black, white and blue. Congrats to everyone who got up there. It looked like a fantastic afternoon.
This is the third time we've taken the game to Coffs Harbour. This is the first time... Like, I was up there the week of the game, the first game against the Titans, and, you know, there were all the pictures of Sean Johnson and Wade Graham, you know, up and down the street. But the Big Banana wasn't... It didn't have the shark thing. Last year we went up there as well. It didn't. This year it seemed like it was fully embraced.
They took over, right? And there were posters everywhere. Some of the photos were absolutely fantastic. That's a winner. We're on to a winner.
The guys went up there early as well. I think one of the complaints when we went up there against the Titans is we travelled up like the day before.
Gotcha.
The boys were up there really early.
Yeah, and they did a lot of stuff.
Schools. We saw that kid run over Tom Hazelton, which was a fantastic photo.
Brilliant photo. Yeah. There was some really good community activities this week, and a lot of the injured players went up. Now, a lot of the players who came back to play for Newtown also went up to get in the mix. I thought it was it's a 10 out of 10 week for the Sharks off the field and a 10 out of 10 on the field.
Yeah, and speaking of that field, that is pristine.
Oh, yeah.
That is a surface. Like you and I joked on the Fins Up podcast, that's where Magic Round should be played. Yeah. That is where Magic Round should be played.
It was 10 out of 10, all round, very good.
That greenkeeper has one job for a week every year. Every single NRL club needs to sign him up because that is just beautiful.
He's absolutely nailed it. Now,
you know what else is beautiful?
Oh, we've both transitioned. What's beautiful, Terry?
Nico Hines into Origin.
It's a big for Origin. Now, full disclosure, we're ruining the effect here, but we're recording this before the Origin teams officially drop. But we've... Nico's walked into camp on camera. So he's going to be there, whether that be at 6 or more likely 14, because that was the feeling. Our boy has made it.
It's a dreadful decision to have him at 14. For mine, you know, like, and not being a New South Wales fan at all, but I will take particular interest in the Blues with Nico being in the team. But for mine, it's 6 or nothing.
I agree.
It's 6 or nothing. Now, I know the whole retort was they've done it with DCE, they've done it with Cronk, they've done it with Ben Hunt or whatever. But Nico's not... He's a better player? Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. But he's not what they do with him, right? You can't get him to go on and play a lock. He ain't going to take those tough hit-ups.
You can't. I'm a little bit disappointed in... Not for him being picked, but that... He's been picked in a situation which really... It's hard to win in this position. Because we saw Sifa Talakai picked last year with no plan. He was in tremendous form. Mm-hmm. They just put him on there. He looked like he was a headless chicken. And he cost us a try that was very... And I don't blame Talakai. That's on Fitler. Mm. Where does Nico play? Is this we're not 100% certain on Jerome Lewis, so do we pick a backup who can also play if Turbo gets injured and go in the centres? That's my feeling. I have a horrible feeling in my gut that he'll get 10 token minutes later on where the game's either won or lost, or he won't get on at all.
My feeling is it's going to be the score 16-14 to Queensland and they're going to throw Nico on to win the game, and he's either going to win the game or they're not going to win the game because he's tried too hard, and then he's going to get bagged and dropped.
Yeah, and he'll be the
scapegoat.
He'll be the Talakai.
This is the perfect position for Jack Whiten. Right, that position of positionless football, because Jack Whiten, if you ask Jack Whiten to play properly, he'd do it. He's mentally 6'2" and enormous, right? Now Nico Hines is 6'2", but he ain't built like Jack Whiten.
He's not, and he doesn't have that.
Yeah,
it's just not in him, you know. And I'm having a go.
Yeah, no.
I'm very happy for him. I think this will work tremendously for us.
Absolutely stoked
just to have him in the camp.
It's just a shame that his coach is a moron.
Well, yes, but I'm going to be very selfish and horrible here, and I hope this doesn't.
I hope he gets dropped.
if it gets to the night and they go, you know what, we might go a bigger body on the bench and Nico's 18th man, I'll be okay with that, totally selfishly.
This is a guy who's lifted an Origin shield and won a premiership without playing a minute.
He's a genius at it, and I'm happy if he does that again. Now, of course, I want to see Nico play. I want to see Nico named at 6. Just quietly, they've named him and Campbell Graham on the likely team bench. That's not going to happen.
No. Campbell Graham's, you can't go into an Origin game with Campbell Graham and Nico. It'll be one or the other, and it has to be Nico.
It has to be Nico.
But, Campbell Graham has to be in your backline. But again, as I've just previously said, your coach is a moron.
Completely fair. But, Sharks first.
Now, let's go. Connor Tracy versus Sifa Talakai, the centre battle that we didn't know that we needed to have, and we don't really need to have. Where's your standing on it?
My stance is that Sifa Talakai has to come back into the side, and it's not even up for debate. But Connor's played very well across 2 weeks, and I would argue, I actually had him as my man of the match early. I've gone back and it's Will Kennedy.
It's Will Kennedy.
But I'm not going to argue with anyone who says Connor Tracy was the best on field last week. He stitched up an Origin quality centre and had his best game, possibly for Cronulla outside of that game. We pretty much single-handedly beat the Warriors when we're a man down. Mm-hmm. But it's Sifa Talakai, who was our form player other than Nico Hines and Will Kennedy. Probably Nico. Okay, he was a top 5 player earlier and a player who is like no one else in the competition, Sifa Talakai. There's no argument.
Talakai leads all centres in try assists, line break assists, line breaks, tackle breaks, metres. Yeah. Okay? The only thing
couldn't have done much more.
The only thing that he's not doing at the moment is scoring tries, but neither are other centres, right? Yeah. Sifa Talakai is so clear in terms of the centres at our club. He's gone from being a bench forward to our best centre, and it's not even close, right? Now, Connor Tracy is having a good game because he doesn't get all these opportunities at once. So he's got to come in and he's got to impress, right?
Yeah, he's done very well.
And he's done really well. And this is what Connor Tracy is. He comes in, he fixes a gap, he plugs the gap when you need to. Thank you very much for doing your job. Now when Sifa's fit, you're back.
You go back to the Jets, which is fine. That's his role, and I think he knows that, and he's taken it with both hands. Big ups to Connor. I wasn't totally sold on the move. I thought, you bloody youngster. He's not Hiroti, so obviously I pick him there. But he's perfect for this. Say Ronaldo's got, an ankle. He plays wing.
Sammy.
Yeah, but like you could throw him in there. He's just the ultimate squad player. My concern is that someone's going to see this and say, "Oh, we got a full-time position for you," and pinch him.
Yeah, I'm not sure if he's off contract or he's got one more year.
I'm pretty sure because he signed a 3 or 4 year deal.
Yeah, and again, I was respectfully having a discussion with a Tigers fan on Twitter who was talking about how Connor Tracy, they need to get him, and I gave the reasons why that you wouldn't do it because he's an okay centre who can have a good game. He's a very average winger who can have a good game. He's a dreadful half.
Yeah, you can't play in the halves. He's always playing fullback for the Jets.
So, he's a versatile player, but if you're signing him to be your starting centre every week, that is where any coach worth a lick is going to attack every single week.
I think you're right. Now, just to end this argument, you've got soft hand Sif, the touch of Talakai. There's nothing clever that goes with Connor Tracy.
And he doesn't pass.
I mean, the touch of Tracy. Now, Terry, you do mention half-heartedly that Connor's not a half. A player who is a half. Braden Trindle.
Oh.
Had a wow of a game for the Jets. Now, I thought they got this absolutely right. They took him for the week. He got all the festivities, gotten all the photos, came back and played for Newtown. Was the best player in the park by so far. So far. Now, these aren't official
Who was
stats.
our 18th man?
Dan Atkinson.
Oh, good.
Who I thought looked very good in a Cronulla jersey, and I dare say he has a game or two in him towards the end of the year. Hopefully. Yeah, back to my boy Trindle. Now, you ask him to go back and play New South Wales Cup. There's two things he could have done here. Could have chucked the wobbly and gone out there and played half-assed, just kicked the ball early and tackled, done his job, or he could have gone out there and torn Newcastle to shreds. He chose B, and he chose B with an underline and an exclamation mark. He had a try. 4 try assists. I almost said 5. I had him down for 5. Now, they've taken one off him for a catch and pass from the centre, which I'm okay with. We'll go with 4 try assists. Still pretty good.
Yeah, he...
Couldn't have done more, mate.
He's way too good for New South Wales Cup, but he has to play there every week.
He does. If he's not playing at 6, he has to play at 6 or 7 because he worked very well with Puru in the halves. That is a look forward to because one of those two is going to jump up when Moylan retires or maybe sooner and join Nico Hines in the halves, and I'm very excited about both. But Trindle was okay, you won't say perfect because I don't think there's ever been a perfect game, but that was 9.99 out of 10. He was magnificent. He put Tukes over for a try. If you haven't...
That ball.
If you haven't seen the highlights, go to Newtown on Facebook or Twitter and just watch. There's a highlight video. It's all Braden Trindle, and it is glorious.
But, I mean, that line from Tukes as well.
That was his best game too.
Even if he runs that in NRL, there ain't anyone going to stop that.
They're not going to stop him
beast,
because he's 9'6".
Yeah, I mean, that Jets performance was absolutely sensational.
Shout out to the Jets. Most people would have missed it because it was on the same time. I had both on. Obviously, I was watching the Sharks, but it's hard not to see a 300-kilo prop run through and score untouched under the post. And Flegg won 3 for 3. What a week.
Now, speaking of forwards, Tukes as well, our forward rotation's a lot better this week.
It was better. I don't think perfect.
I don't think it was perfect.
I don't want to be that guy. And there's some people in the comments who, thanks for the comments, by the way. I love them, good, bad, or indifferent. It's fantastic. That's what we're here to do.
Yeah.
Have said that we're a bit know-it-all-y.
Yeah, well...
And I'm going to double down here and say that
we might be a bit negative, but we're just not watching the game through black, white and blue glasses.
No, which
you can see what's wrong with this team.
Now, I think that we bossed from the start. We were the best team in the front row. When the big man, Jacob Saifiti, came on, I think he bossed the middle and they owned us for about 5 minutes. They got on top, scored. Then we reacted by putting Jack Williams on, and I think Ueli came on. Had the wow of a game. Boy, did we miss him last week. And we got the ascendancy back. I think he missed it by about 3 or 4 minutes. When he saw Saifiti come on, Ueli had to go on.
I said it on our Fins Up podcast, about 7 minutes too late for mine. They were tired. It was hot up there. It looked hot.
Yeah, it did. Low 20s, I believe, or high teens. It was warmer than
I felt that it was just at that point there where we had exerted so much energy trying to score and trying to make 60 and 70 metres every set that we were out of it. And I mean, Finucane as well. He's every bit the 32-year-old at the moment. And I mean, we missed that Cam McInnes injection into the game as well. The
tweaks were good, but for me, when you see Saifiti come on, and this is a bloke who's played for New South Wales and particularly well, you look at our big body, which is Braden Hamlin-Ueli, and say,
had to go on.
Yours.
But in saying that, one player coming off the bench who I thought was absolutely exceptional was Jack Williams.
Very good.
And now
I've seen a bit of negativity about his hands. Didn't he have one drop?
He's had 3 errors all year.
Yeah, I think that's a little bit harsh without...
Because you remember the 2020 Jack Williams who would drop every second ball, and last year Jack Williams as well, he didn't get... But yeah, he's been absolutely sensational.
He was fantastic.
One error, and it was a crap one. Other than that, he was brilliant.
I thought he was very good, but I Big Bold Tom, I live for this guy. He came on and he ran a line and he wasn't going to be stopped. I don't care who was standing there.
I've got to say, like his head and face, he hadn't even done anything, let alone a warm up, and his head was red. It's like he just lathered it with Denker rub and ran out there.
I love what
Producer Dids is smiling because he's the same. But
I am loving what I've seen from Big Tom. He could not have done more. I want to see his minutes just a little bit larger. But if he's going to come on and do that.
This is what we're talking about now, and it's a shame it's not reflected. Well, it is reflected because we're top of the comp, but it's a shame it's not reflected because we are top of the comp. Our depth, right? Where, I saw Newcastle players saying, oh, well, this is Cronulla's strongest team. The it is. We're missing Toby Rudolph. Braden Hamlin-Ueli came back early. We're missing Cam McInnes.
Talakai.
We're missing Siasifa Talakai, right? Players like Tom Hazelton are getting the opportunity to step. And we want Jesse Colquhoun in this team to let you know how injury depleted it is. So the guys like Connor Tracy stepping up, doing their job, right? And it's just showing now that Fitz has not gone to market for a whole new squad. He's kept what there is, and there's a couple of positions for some key players if they're needed, or we just sign from within.
I have a quick question for you, Terry.
Go.
There's one team, one, that has 3 teams, technically, in the top 4 in the NRL, the New South Wales Cup, and the Jersey Flag. Do you want to hazard a guess to who that might be?
It's not Cronulla because we don't have a New South Wales Cup team.
That's why I said technically, it's Cronulla.
It's Cronulla. End of debate for me, Daniel. Lachlan Miller, William Kennedy.
Will Kennedy, 10-7.
Dan?
Talk to me, Terry.
It's time to talk some Top Sport tips. Now,
Certainly
our
is.
good friends at Top Sport actually got some money back off of us this week.
They did. We got a perfect round this week, which is...
It was
anyone who says they got a perfect round is a dirty, rotten liar.
The best in our tipping comp this week was 4.
That might have been me because I actually forgot to put my tips in just quietly, so I got the away teams. So yeah, you go me. But it's all right. Next week we're going. They've made a short round just for us to get back on track.
Now, seven teams have the bye, which means we've only got 5 games of footy. And they have ruined our Thursday night.
Yeah, they've thought, let's put this one on.
By putting the Dragons on. Now, Dragons, bottom of the competition. Going up to Redcliffe to take on a Dolphins team that are going to be missing some players in Origin.
They will. I'd say the Hammer will be out, and Kafusi's definitely going to be out regardless because he's suspended again.
Tom Gilbert should be out as well.
Yeah, so they're going to miss at least 3 players. There might be another one we're missing that may get caught up into the squad.
No Hunt, no Dragons for mine.
Yeah, that's completely true. Now, the Dragons are coming off a pretty big week, an emotional week, and they won a game they probably shouldn't have, and they managed to find a way.
What an end to a game.
That's the best finish I've seen, considering the week that was. Now, it wasn't the most exciting. We've seen better tries after the bell.
Yeah, and we've seen like Roosters and Souths win with a minute to go, right? That was literally
But not off a
15
week
seconds.
where you've just heard about how bad you are. You're coming off 5 straight losses. You got a Roosters team that's ripping in and ready to win in front of a huge crowd. Rugby league is undefeated.
But it's the most Dragons thing, right? For this week that they sacked their coach. They've got an interim in. The guy who they want to bring in as the coach won't interview with them for another couple of weeks. They win the game. Mm-hmm. It's the first time that they have beaten the Roosters outside of an Anzac game since the 2010 grand final.
Wow. And what happened?
They've won the game and they dropped down the ladder.
Yeah.
They are last.
Hugely unfortunate. Great win. They're better than a lot of the teams down below.
Go back to the Dolphins. They were really disappointing in the first half. Turned it on in the second half, but gave themselves way too much to do against a very disciplined Storm team. Jerome Hughes' best game of the year.
I think the Dolphins got it wrong. They let Kafusi go out there with a chip on his shoulder and it cost them big time.
Yeah, and I think that with the Ben Hunt factor and that there's literally nothing else at the Dragons at the moment, I'm going to pick the Dolphins up in Redcliffe.
Yep, big home ground
to win
advantage.
this game.
I want to see the big man come back at the centres because Branko Lee ain't it.
No.
Or put him at fullback and put him back at centre.
And
Val Meninga, get him in.
Ain't it.
Get it. Dolphins for me, mate.
Yeah, Dolphins. Friday night, the Parramatta Eels taking on the North Queensland Cowboys. Woo!
This ain't the week to be a Cowboys fan. They're going to miss their best player, Val Holmes, through Origin selection.
They're probably going to be without Ruben Cotter.
Yeah. Jeez, this ain't a week to run into Parramatta, who aren't going to be missing many players because Ryan Madison looks like he's been overlooked ridiculously.
Well, he's injured.
Well, that sucks. But I would have picked him for Origin if he was fit just quietly. But
I think Ryan Madison would have been in the team instead of Tyson Frizzell, but he hurt his calf. Didn't get through the game.
Other than that, Gutho's going to be there, Moses is going to be there, Brown's not available, obviously being a Kiwi, so this ain't the week to be a Cowboys fan for me. Not the last week was either.
Yeah, look, if you think it was bad, it's only going to get worse.
Can you see a repeat?
I can't see a repeat. They're not going to cop 60 again. They may cop 30 and get belted, but the Cowboys, they're just going down.
They're way on the way down. Now, Tom Dearden's not going to get picked in Origin.
No, I think he'll be in the 20-man squad with Mo Tuolungi, but
he'll play.
He'll come back.
And Caulfield.
And Chad Townsend ain't playing.
Yeah, no, Chad's not playing, and Caulfield can't be picked for Origin either. So there's no real excuses outside of the 2 players we mentioned, which are pretty big, I suppose. Parramatta, though, are going to show this team no mercy, and I dare say they've scored the most points in the competition.
By one.
They've had a game more than Cronulla, but I think they're going to go way ahead of Cronulla this week with a huge win, 13 plus or 30 plus.
Saturday afternoon?
Yeah, 5:30
5:30 kickoff, 7:30 in New Zealand for all our Warriors fans over there.
Both of you.
The Warriors are taking a game to Napier, South Island.
Now I didn't know where that was, and I was told it was in New Zealand.
Yep.
Wow.
By me.
Certainly didn't see that coming. This is a brilliant game to take.
It is. They're playing the Broncos, though, who are going to be minus Selwyn Cobbo. Should be Reece Walsh.
Pat Carrigan.
Payne Haas.
Tom Flegler.
Yep.
They're going to be down a few players.
They're going to be down a few players. Coming off the bye, you were talking stats before about teams winning the bye, especially the home team.
Home teams.
I think the Warriors are going to win this and should win it quite well.
Yeah, I think the Warriors will be very disappointed.
See the Broncos dropping down that ladder now?
Yeah, the Origin period historically is very difficult, and I don't think it'll be any different. I don't think they'll really mind. They set themselves up for it, so I don't think they'll still make the 8. Yeah, I'm pretty confident in tipping the Warriors this week. Now, I'm never really confident tipping the Warriors. You don't know who's going to turn up. But, yeah, they've had the bye. Sean Johnson has told the Tigers no, which means he'll re-sign. And when Sean Johnson is settled, he's very good. I think he's going to have a field day. Warriors by plenty.
Saturday night, 7:30, the South Sydney Rabbitohs take on the Canberra Raiders. Now, no Latrell should be the only out.
Potentially Campbell Graham and Cam Murray.
Oh yeah, Cam Murray. Oh, Damien Cook. Yeah.
So heaps of outs.
Forgot about that actually. Let's start this again.
Yeah, let's.
Saturday night, 7:30. South Sydney missing a quartet of players.
Yeah. Who would forget those players?
Who would forget those guys? Against the Canberra Raiders now. Hudson Young, is his name being...
Yeah, as 18th man, so he'll miss the game if he's named 18th man.
Okay.
More than likely. Jack Whiten, of course, won't be picked.
Yeah,
He'll
won't
rule himself out. And outside of that, yeah, can't. Lee's going to play too.
Corey Horsburgh.
Yeah, potentially. Now, Papa Lee has ruled himself out for Origin as well with his retirement. Caught me a little bit off guard. So there's no excuses for Canberra, who are coming off a horror loss this weekend.
Yeah. After saying the players that are out for South, it's swayed my tip. I'm going the Raiders.
Yes, but they've still got Cody
Canberra
Walker. They've still got Cody Walker. They've still got some real superstars. It's going to be tough for South. I'm going to tip Canberra just to go a little bit against the grain, even though you tipped them. I didn't see that coming. But I wouldn't be shocked if South win this, put it that way.
Now, what is shocking is the Newcastle Knights against Manly to ruin your Sunday afternoon. Now, Knights should be without...
Ponga.
Frizzell. Sounds like Frizzell and a Saifidi, I think I saw on the bench.
Yeah, potentially Gagai maybe. So
no, I don't think Gagai will be in there, but...
At least 2 or 3.
Yeah, 2 or 3 out. Manly, the Gerbos, no DCE.
Yeah, they're going to...
This game stinks. How did this make Sunday afternoon?
Now, if I'm in the Channel 9 engine room, I'm thinking...
Pull the cord.
Yeah, what game do I want during the Origin period? I want a turboless Manly and a Pongaless Newcastle. Let's pick that one.
Pull the cord.
I don't even want to tip this game, but I'm going to have to. Newcastle at home.
Lachlan Miller can't play that bad again, right?
He can't.
He has all year, but he can't play that bad again.
No, law of averages says he can't. Where are Manly's points going to come from? Ruben Garrick's going to have to score 100 points by himself.
On that, I'm going to go...
You reckon Garrick beats Newcastle by himself?
I just think Newcastle's forwards pack is rubbish.
Okay.
I'm going to go Manly.
Okay, I'll go Ruben Garrick.
Hey all, thanks for tuning in to another episode of Rugby League Outlaws brought to you by Top Sport and the Stubby Club. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Keep your comments coming. Dan will respond to them when he can.
Yes. And I wanted to give a huge thank you to everyone that tuned in for Rugby League Rumble last week. If you haven't, please check it out. Without spoiling, the winner is on the couch. I saw some accusations of cheating. Now, I just want to go on record to say I gave you nothing.
Nothing.
And I would never because of my integrity, but also I want to see you lose. So
if you want to see me lose, get me some better competition.
That's completely fair. Congratulations. Thanks again. We will be running a second one. I don't want to blow my own announcement, but I'm going to. It's happening. Rugby League Rumble, baby.